Welcome to Neurotic News. We're back again after a long break. But in some exciting news, I mean, a lot of people listening to this, I don't know if you know this, have been messaging me asking for more eps and when they're going to come out and stuff. And so what we've decided to do is release an episode every second Tuesday. So we're going to release this one, and then it looks like, although, you know, the next one will be Boxing Day if we decide to release it then. And then obviously after the holiday season, starting January, every second Tuesday. And we're going to set up a Patreon so people can donate initially to keep the podcast running regularly and make it a regular thing. So hopefully people are excited by this. Are you excited by this, Rathi? I mean,
I think
you look overwhelmed.
Yeah, I feel like my dopamine receptors are so fried. I've enlisted an army of nanobots to resuscitate them.
Yeah, that's a perfect. Yeah, I think that's what probably a lot of people were thinking.
Do you find it's hard to feel stuff?
Yeah, fuck yeah. Well, I think like the environment has to be perfect for me to feel contented.
Everything's
like I have
perfect.
to sleep the exact amount, eat the exact right thing, run into the exact right people. As soon as just one of those things is out,
I have that. Yeah, everything could be like perfect, the right supplementation regime. But then I come across someone who gives me an ambivalent greeting.
Right, and you're done.
And it's done.
Yeah. Curl up in the corner. What is that? Who am I? Like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my therapist said that if you show a neutral face to a baby, they'll cry. And I related to that.
Fragile.
Yeah, the baby would rather have a sad face so it understands.
Right. So you're saying neutral is actually the worst.
Neutrality is a blank canvas for you to paint your paranoia on.
Right.
Is what it is.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
It's like being given a paint set, one of those craft and earns. Someone's like, hey, you're like, okay, let's just paint what this means.
Yeah, which is always negative. Yeah. You're never like, oh, someone was just ambivalent. They're probably having something going on in their life that's to do with them. It has nothing to do with me, and that's totally fine. No, of course, you're like, why are they trying to bring me down? How long have they been planning it? What other friends have they brought in to this betrayal?
There's always they've recruited other people.
Yeah. They're very rarely acting alone.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it is. No, yeah. Well, that's a great response to the regular release of the podcast, I think.
Yeah. It's
because people are like, that's why they're listening.
Yeah.
for that kind of commentary. So sometimes when just to segue out of that, well, lack of segue, but I thought you might find this interesting. On the Uber off from the airport, I got in the car and I made the mistake of saying I was a comedian. Like, they go, what do you do, brother? And I said, I'm a comedian. And this was his response. Oh, comedian, man. You know Robin Williams? And I was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, he killed himself, man. Yeah. Wow. He went, wow. Killed himself, man. He boomed dead, man. He boomed dead.
Yeah. Which
I enjoy. I like that, Like, it was just so not topical.
Yeah, it's in a 24-hour news cycle where, what's happening on the ground in Gaza is changing every second.
Yeah.
And people are getting updated.
Yeah.
As each drone strike occurs. Almost as it occurs, it's not the next day.
Right. Yeah.
He's doing the opposite. He's like, let's go 14 years back.
Yeah, you hear Richard Pryor's got MS, man? Wow.
Yeah. Man, Tom Hanks is in this movie called Philadelphia.
Yeah, about gay people, man, and because I don't know if I've told that story before about when I was in LA and I had this weird scenario where, a girl I used to study acting with brought along to my show a guy that she married who was gay, and he was straight for her, and then of course it fell apart. And as a result of like him needing to be with men physically.
Yeah.
And that resulted in them asking me for a threesome.
Have
I told you the story?
Because that would resuscitate.
Right. And I was just out with her and he, oh, hey, nice to meet you. And then they're there like, oh, we should ask him. Like they were talking in front of me about me. We should ask him back to our place. And I was like, oh, I'm not down for that weird threesome with someone I know and this dude and stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, have I told you that story?
Yeah, I think, that sounds familiar.
Yeah. And then I got in the Uber.
Yeah.
And the dude driving, I was like, man, I just had the craziest thing. My friend asked me for a threesome with her friend that she married, who's gay.
Yeah.
And they asked me for a threesome. I've known him for years, and it was just so strange. And he goes, wait a minute. The dude is fucking men up the ass?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That was his response. Wait a minute. The dude could be fucking the pussy, but he's fucking the ass? That's crazy, man. And he just could not get past that bit, just that he was gay.
But that he had the chance to not be.
Yeah. And he's like, I can't, well, man, he fucking, trying to get dudes in the ass. Well, anything is possible. I would not trust him, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, but it's also crazy that she was my friend. She asked me for a threesome.
But he's chose to focus on that.
Yeah, he chose to focus on the fact that he was gay.
It is hard to talk to Uber drivers. Like, I mean, because like when you said that, like it is, I've noticed, like, I noticed, say if you've just bombed a gig and you get in an Uber, they go, what do you do for a living? You're like, yeah, just, statistics and some manual labor or whatever.
Right, yeah.
But if you do really well, you're like, I'm a comedian.
Yeah.
Because you do
yeah,
well.
yeah. You're like, well, man, I'm a comedian traveling around. But when you bomb, yeah, it is a funny combo
like,
to
I'm
say
unemployed.
statistics and manual labor. You work in the brickyard, then I go back and work on some graphs. I'm like
Yeah.
Matt Damon's character.
It's graphite and then graphs.
Yeah.
Like
It's like the Matt Damon character.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
his name in
Rain
what's that show?
Man or whatever,
No.
Rainmaker.
No.
Oh no, yeah, I know what you mean. Goodwill Hunting.
Good Will Hunting. But I guess there's similarities to Rain Man in a way.
Goodwill Hunting's like if Rain Man sucked and fucked.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
He could also pick up women.
Because Rain Man's like Qantas,
Yeah.
and he couldn't parlay that
into
into a
getting some
conversation.
pussy, yeah. Definitely sucking and fucking. Definitely sucking and fucking.
12 pussies. Yeah.
That's what's so hard today
Yeah.
is references, man. Like, how many people do you think if you got up in a stand-up room have heard of Rain Man?
It's hard to tell sometimes.
Because that's a great reference. Rain Man is a great reference.
It's a good like shortcut, shorthand for an imagery.
Yeah.
That's why you do it. You don't want to go, so there's this guy that repeats words and...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But I'm just saying, like, the world is so fragmented with what they're watching.
Yeah.
That it's just annoying, and then it's so dated. Like, I reckon if you got up and said, "Oh yeah, it's like Rain Man," he was like Rain Man. People are like, "What?"
Yeah. Well, I was reading a book. It said the Titanic might be the only, was the last Universal movie.
Right.
Where just everyone's seen it.
What about Star Wars? The Titanic.
I guess
of
Star
the
Wars. Yeah.
Space. It's Titanic.
Space Titanic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's Leonardo DiCaprio in that one?
Good question.
No one benefited from the sinking of the Titanic more than Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, true. Like, I mean, the amount of women that he's...
Just the trajectory
of his...
off the back of playing a street urchin that drowned.
Yeah. He's like... Yeah, that made his career of hooking up with young women for the rest of his life.
Off playing a guy going, can I have some more? Like one of those...
Yeah. Please, governor. I've got to go clean under the boat, yeah?
I feel like when he was freezing, that guy wasn't thinking, one day I'm going to enable a guy to sleep with all the supermodels of the world as he froze.
You think the guys actually died on the Titanic weren't thinking like, oh, hopefully one day this launches a single guy's career into a place where he can sleep exclusively with very young women for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Then he dies or whatever.
The thought wouldn't have crossed the mind.
No, I don't think so. Going back to the Uber dude, he was ambiguous of race.
Yeah.
He was very ambiguous. I'm going to say he was a type of wog, but you were saying the word wog in the UK is a slur.
I think it is.
Right, but it's not about Greek and...
No, it's not. it's gone beyond Greek and Italian.
Right, it's
to
just
be a
ethnic minorities.
generalised-
Yeah, wow. They've done a lot more with the word.
They went global.
Because I would say in Australia, wog is not considered an ethnic slur. Although perhaps if you said it in a comedy room, it might get a reaction.
Well, yeah, because it's. I feel like it really is Greek or Italian. It's Mediterranean.
Right. But in Australia, it was about, like permission was given to use the word. Like they named movies after it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, once it's a movie, you've got to Google search it. So you've got to type the words wog.
Right. But also from their perspective, like Greek and Italians weren't protective over the word. So we say it. But in the UK, it could be a slur.
Yeah, they've expanded it to just mean anyone not from England.
Right. Well, the reason I bring it up is because...
Even French.
Yeah, French wog.
Yeah, that's what I heard. They're like, the wogs start in France and then it's just everything to the east of that.
French wog. An Irish wog? Is there such a thing as an Irish?
I don't know, because they're so pale.
Right.
But then there's probably Polish
So you
wogs.
could go, he's a fucking Norwegian wog.
Yeah.
Like do they brand the
So Hitler
wogs?
was a wog.
Hitler was a wog who took
Who would've
over
been
the
a wog.
world with Blitzkrieg.
Yeah.
The fucking wogs are Blitzkrieg in Europe. Like that would be funny in Australia.
Yeah.
But over there, it's like not funny, man. It's like you're using a racial slur against a racist,
Yeah.
which is a weird combo.
Yeah, but here it's a genial term.
But that is interesting to say, like, Hitler was the most famous racist in human history. And if from a racist perspective, the most successful at being racist.
Yeah.
But he was also a wog.
Yeah. According to Churchill. Like from the angle of
Right.
Winston Churchill, he would have been like, that fucking wog just
Yeah.
invaded Poland.
Do you think he rushed into the war room going, the wog has started, oh dear, the wog seems to have started another war.
Yeah.
One of those Eastern European wogs.
The wogs just invaded us, the snow wogs.
The snow wogs have invaded Poland. Oh.
The snow wogs are having a land
cigar.
dispute again
Mm.
in the snow.
This wog's taken over most of Europe. You think this is okay? Winston, you can't call them that.
Yeah, it's weird that because I guess like Germans have fashion too,
Right.
which is pretty wog. Like the English, no, because I just mean the English have no fashion or any kind of. Do you know what I mean? They're just eating garbage.
You don't associate them stereotypically with like fine dining. Like,
No, they're eating.
like yeah, let's gather around and eat
That's
like,
the problem with England. Even if you get to the top of the ruling class, you're still eating just porridge and. Do you know what I mean? It's just still with like chimney covered in soot and like even you win the prize of being on the top of an awful place.
Right. Yeah, and you get a roast chicken or something.
Yeah.
Whereas Italians and Greeks and stuff are eating, great. Like the food is like so important to them culturally.
Well,
and
Hugo Boss I thought was a wog. And
right, I
like
see what
those
you mean.
black
'Cause
jackets,
you're saying Italians and Greeks and stuff are famous for their fashion and their culture and their taste. And so when you think of Hugo Boss and Nazi outfits and all that being like famously aesthetically alluring, which was intentional, of course, you thought, oh geez, that's a well dressed up wog, but it was a Nazi.
Yeah, they had like this sheen to the leather coats that was wog-esque.
Right.
Like there's like you can imagine they were looking after the aesthetics, which English people don't. Like you saw Churchill,
I see what you mean.
Churchill was slovenly.
Yeah.
Smoking
A pig,
cigars.
yeah.
He was an animal.
Yeah.
In bed drinking whiskey.
Yeah.
A wog would never do that.
No.
Like Berlusconi or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Mussolini
Mussolini, yeah.
would have been fucking. Do you know what I mean? Eating amazing shit.
Well, what were you saying about the other day about fascism and Japanese?
Oh,
you had
yeah.
an interesting point.
It was interesting that the Germans were allied with the Italians and the Japanese. Like that was the axis of evil, but it's weird for a really racist dictatorship to have allies with Italy and Japan.
Right.
It'd be like seeing a skinhead at a sushi train with Giuseppe. just going past.
Well,
with
that would have been the
teriyaki.
world after if they won.
Yeah,
You'd see a skinhead with a full Nazi outfit eating sushi
with the wog.
with an Italian with an Italian dude talking
Yeah.
like, hey, I don't know. Then they're eating then like, thank you, Komoucha, or whatever. You know, they
Yeah.
say that word when you come into sushi.
Well, he would have
tray.
done a sig hail, and then
Yeah.
the wog would have done a conga line out. Like,
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
German would have been like, that's what wogs do.
Yeah, and that's fine.
Yeah.
We're allies.
Yeah. So I find it interesting the German would meet the Japanese person, do a sig hail, and then the Japanese person bows.
Yeah, right.
It's like the opposite thing. Because a
right.
sig hail's like a fuck. Like it's giving the finger to someone pretty much.
Right.
Like it's a
Yeah, I
crazy
think
thing
so.
to do.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And the bow is very much like not like a nice, gentle.
Yeah, it's submissively like it's like gracious because you're like going, I, you know, am bowing down to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a weird comment to think someone would zig hail and bow.
And then you'd think the Japanese were allied with the Italians, which is funny.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
yeah.
the last time Japan and more recently Japan and Italy collaborated was on Mario.
Yeah.
That's a Japanese Nintendo company.
Yeah. That it's just funny to go from Mussolini to Mario, like Tarzan,
Yeah.
because that went so well.
Yeah, Mario did.
You know, with
Or
Hiroshima
Mussolini.
and everything, and you know, like that
Right.
whole alliance really led to a lot. Let's make a wog plumber that eats mushrooms or whatever.
Yeah, right. I see what you mean. You're saying that the last time they worked together was maybe the worst thing ever that happened in history.
Yeah.
And they're like, let's collaborate again on a computer game.
Yeah,
What could go wrong?
we'll make him a plumber this time rather than a dictator.
The
And
whole-
I liked it's like, yeah, so Nagasaki, now let's try it again. Again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wouldn't you try a different nationality?
Right. You're saying
Make
it's
him
strange.
Swedish or something, you know, like a Swedish architect character in the video game
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah.
who designs houses and whatever.
Yeah, right. I see what you mean. I never thought about it like that. So I guess some nationalities teaming up seems like a bad idea.
Yeah.
Like if they would do it again. The whole reason I brought it up, the word wog and what it means, and because in Australia it's commonly used. And there's a comedy show called The Very Waggy Christmas that is done in Melbourne. And it's just like ethnic comics. And one of the songs I saw one of the comedians do is because they're bringing in Indians and Indian people, Sri Lankans and Asian comics as well
Yeah.
into the Waggy Christmas lineup.
They're kind of doing what the
comedians.
English are doing
Right.
by bringing in every person that's not English.
Right. I see what you mean. Yeah. Well, they're doing that on the Waggy Christmas lineup.
Yeah.
And the whole reason I brought this up is because I thought this was really fucking funny and crazy that they write songs for the Waggy Christmas comedy show that they do on stage, and they wrote one for the Sri Lankan dude who we know is a mate of ours, Dill. And it was, I have no curry for you, pum papa dum dum.
Yeah, it's
I just thought that was so crazy. And I just can't believe that. Like watching a dude from India or Sri Lanka going, I have no curry for you, bum, papa, dum, dum. I just couldn't get over that. Am I crazy thinking that is fucking insane?
No, it's
To see that in a comedy show?
and it was really doing well, right? Like
Oh, he was crushing, yeah. Because it's like quite a suburban room where they do it.
Yeah.
So they were just pissing themselves. But honestly, man, that is pretty, like I would be laughing for different reasons, but that is pretty fucking funny.
Oh yeah, that's the best.
I have no curry for you, bum, papa, dum. Imagine writing that for an Indian dude to do.
I mean, it kind of makes sense. Like, I have no curry for you, but Papa Dum Dums. Like, we've got. Like, it makes sense to have it as a sentence.
Is
like
this
at a
Indian
restaurant.
dude singing to like white people, like out in the snow? Like, I
Yeah.
have no
Well,
curry
what's
for you.
happening?
And they're like,
We don't want.
well, that's right. We don't want curry. It's Christmas.
Yeah, it's Christmas, so
it's
we're gonna have
Christmas. So
turkey.
he's like saying graciously, like, I have no curry for you, bum.
and
they're
they're
like,
good,
thank you.
good. We're
Yeah.
having turkey, so
Yeah.
let's continue.
We don't
eating.
have that at this time of year.
Yeah, that's
Thank
more
you.
of a Thursday night, June.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the rest of the year.
And the other one was, sorry, I have to say this, but the other one was he lists curries. He's
Yeah.
like, he's in the style of Kings of Leon, my sex is on fire.
Oh yeah.
But he's like, Madras, Vindaloo, my ass is on fire. I'm sorry, man. It's so dumb, but it's fucking...
No, it's incredible.
I just thought you might just gawk at that being said at a comedy club, sung at a comedy club.
Yeah.
My ass is on fire.
And there was suburbanites passing out.
With laughter. Yeah, absolutely crushing.
Like paroxysms of mirth.
Yeah. Oh, it was
paralyzing
crushing.
their nervous system.
Yeah. No, he killed it.
Celebrate with a curry.
Yeah. Celebrate with a curry.
This song about curry goes so well, you have a curry?
Yeah.
You're like, I've earned this.
Yeah, time for a curry. You don't hear that often, do you? Celebrate with a beer. Celebrate with a buttered chicken.
That's how I celebrate with curry.
Oh, fuck yeah, me too.
It's really all I've got left is curry.
Yeah, well, it's great now. You can just get it Uber delivered.
Yeah.
You know, like the economy is getting so frictionless.
It's
like...
I think it, because, you can sublet your room or whatever with these things now. And I just think Uber's going to get...
What is a subletting thing, by the way?
Well, it's just
like Airbnb kind of stuff.
Yeah, like you've got a room, you can give it to someone for a month or whatever.
Right. It's getting more and more ridiculous.
It's getting so ridiculous that I think
And housing crisis is getting so...
The cost of living, and I think soon you'll be able to just take the bins out and sublet your room for 30 seconds.
Right, yeah.
You'll be like, I'm going to take the bins out. I'll go on like Uber room space. Room space.
Yeah,
Julio can come in for 30 seconds, read the blurb on one of my books, and then leave.
Right. So, maximizing the
yeah.
Oh yeah, but I'm out of the house now for half an hour. So ding, it can be subletted, and dude just comes in and da 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 da, like a Brazilian backpacker.
Walks around,
eats his lunch. Takes a shit. Like, because you could have an app that's just like room free, and it just costs him $4.
Yeah,
he pays $4 and he gets a room for half an hour.
Yeah, he comes in just
with a bunch of Brazilians, and they all take turns at taking a shit.
They dog ear your copy of Moby Dick in the bathroom because they're just in there reading.
That's so crazy.
And then you come back from Aldi or whatever. And obviously these Brazilians are delivering their own deliveries as well.
Right.
So they just...
Because they're part of the gig economy as well.
Yeah, so Deliveroos are using 30-second increments in people's houses to live as accommodation between deliveries.
Right. Yeah,
So they'll learn to sleep in like 15-second micro sleep so they can get back on the road.
So you're picturing a gig economy that's so frictionless that he's like, a room's opened up for 30 seconds and he'll rush in and take a shit or lie down for a second or flick through Moby Dick, then put his backpack on because another app has gone, hey, you can deliver also next door curry.
Yeah, it'll just be people are hot desk accommodation.
Just moving around.
Yeah.
And that's why, like... so many classic movies now just wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, I think movies like Fight Club, where it's in an office, because it's like you go to a cafe now on a Monday, and it's packed to the brim
of people,
with people working and doing emails and conference calls.
Yeah, because
with Eggs Benedict,
like Fight Club wouldn't work today because. He's like, the whole movie is about the drudgery of capitalism in the sense that he has an office job where he's not getting paid enough and it consumes his whole life, and he's in this drudgery office where he's sitting there staring straight ahead.
There's a boss and you've got to go to that room, water cooler conversation. There's all that drudgery of that.
Right, yeah.
And same with Matrix, you need Neo in an office. You can't have Neo just hot desking at a cafe with a Bluetooth headset.
Right, yeah.
And Morpheus meets him at the cafe.
Yeah, right, yeah. You couldn't have the scene in the Matrix with Morpheus, but he's zooming.
Yeah.
Take this red or green pill and it stalls, and he's like,
how do I take it? He's like, I'll mail it to you using Amazon. He's like, I'll use a drone delivery system.
Yeah.
So
get it there quicker.
Be on the lookout. And he's like, good, because I've got to finish off a bit of some Slack meetings at this cafe that I'm dining at al fresco with the crab risotto and eggs.
Yeah, it's like there's not as much resistance to... Sorry, I just love the detail of that meal.
You know, they got crab eggs now, like
Right,
spiced crab eggs. Like,
Yeah.
It just seems like a meal, one of those Bluetooth.
Yeah, well, Morpheus seems like he'd have a Bluetooth.
I saw a guy in a suit eating a cupcake with a knife and fork. And
Right.
do you know what I mean? It's like, what's going on? Like, you can't have that. Like Agent Smith.
Yeah.
It needs to be in an office.
Yeah, you're right. Well, the drudgery is gone because, people aren't, so there's less resistance.
There's no difference between leisure and work. It just kind of morphs.
Yeah, which is worse.
Into this spicy crab omelette of a life.
It's like when your real estate agent puts a welcome to country at the bottom of their email.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what I'm trying to say is the bad thing is now softened and everything.
Yeah.
You get beer with fucking no carbs. You get ice cream with no sugar. You don't work 9 to 5, but you can work whenever you want, but you end up working all the time.
Yeah.
Your real estate agent is just a corporate total capitalist. But at the bottom, he's like, I'd like to acknowledge the Gadigal people, the original Aboriginal landowners of the land.
Yeah.
And you're like, but you're selling, it's just, everything is like with this layer of like stuff that makes it nice, where it's easier to hate something that is like the office in the Fight Club. It's easy to hate. The boss is a dick. He's not getting paid enough. He's got to stay there 9 till 5. He works so hard that he's delirious.
Right now, like Neo would just have a gig economy job.
Right.
Like he'd be freelancing graphic design or whatever from a cafe. You know what I mean? So it wouldn't make sense. Like, do I hate the boss? Like, who is the boss? It's just
right.
It's just a Brazilian guy that wants a poster done.
Yeah.
And
it's
hair tasker.
You got a guy who's on real estate agent. How meaningless those kinds of niceties have become. Like welcome to country. In Australia, which is the Aboriginal acknowledgement of the Aboriginal ownership of land. But then you got a real estate agent with a trans flag, a gay flag, pronouns, and a welcome to country at the bottom of their email.
And his mugshot's on the thing sold. It looks like a serial killer mugshot.
Yeah.
Like it's like crazed eyes. You just know that he's chased a woman with a samurai sword. Like, at one point in his life.
Yeah. He's had that weird moment where he's got a charge that he keeps hidden and so on.
Yeah.
Like it's no reflection of his email thing.
There's no link.
Yeah. I'd like to acknowledge the Gadigal people, and I'd also like to acknowledge the Southern Light in the lounge room is incredible, and this spacious renovator's dream that's only 10 minutes from the city and close to public transport. This land was never ceded. There should be a treaty, but also the land is cheap for where it is, so close to public transport and schools.
I'd like to acknowledge that it's on top of a Vietnamese eatery that's frequented by locals. Like it's just other amenities.
Yeah.
I'd like to acknowledge within a 300-metre radius.
You're saying that he uses I like to acknowledge.
Yeah, I like to acknowledge within 300 metres there's a shop that sells sustainable seaweed curtains.
Yeah, you've mentioned the seaweed curtains a couple of times as a way of like talking about like, inner city gentrification, but are they real things?
Yeah, I've read that they were making sustainable eco curtains out of seaweed, and that I thought was peak. And it's also, there's this fish place now where the guy, these places where they use like the whole animal.
Right.
That's the claim to fame.
Right.
They're like, so this guy does fish, and it's like every scale is used for, something.
Right.
Down to even where the eyeball is used to make gelato.
Wow. So holy shit. So the idea is it's a sustainable restaurant.
Yeah.
And they use, as a way of being good, environmentally friendly, they use every part of the fish, including the eyeballs, and they use the eyeballs to make gelato.
Yeah, because it's gelatinous, so they'll make it into a
straw. But it's eco because they're not wasting the eyeballs.
Not wasting the fish.
Right.
But I feel sorry for the barramundi because I don't think that thought is crossing its mind.
It's unfathomable that sure, barramundi might go, geez, I could get caught and used for food.
Yeah.
But it can't. It's just the leap.
To think my retina is going to be strawberry sorbet sampled by an indecisive hipster in the inner city.
Right.
You wouldn't think that if you're in the Great Barrier Reef.
Right. But if aliens, like that's why if aliens do colonize us, we'll have no idea what they'll use.
Yeah.
Like they'll be using they're eating us. If something ate us, we couldn't fathom.
Yeah.
An advanced species, what they might use us for.
If a robot took over, you wouldn't know what their imperative would be. Like they could use my foreskin to make tents.
Yeah, you're like, oh, so yeah, the human ear can be used as a glue.
Yeah.
You're like, what? Because we use horses. Isn't a horse used for glue?
Yeah, exactly. The horse isn't thinking.
You couldn't convince a horse, like, yeah, you're related to kids sticking shapes on a fucking kindergarten wall.
Yeah.
You're like, what?
The horse is like, no, I didn't think.
Yeah, we're going to use paper. We're going to use you to make paper mache of a giant fucking bluey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You'll be on an operating table and there'll be a fucking robot taking your digestive tract out so that it can measure the diameter of Neptune. And you'll be like, they're like, no, it just helps us measure it better.
Yeah,
And
there's
you're
a
like,
weird
fuck, I
thing in
didn't-
the substance you don't understand, and
It
it's
just
used in a chemical
Gets
that.
the fractals like
Right.
evened out with the digestive lining.
Right.
You're like, oh, fuck, I didn't.
Yeah, we
think
we
you do
play a
that.
sport with human noses.
Yeah. Because we think we're just going to be put in like gulags, like robot gulags. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
they'll use us as
Well, there's plenty of
batteries or
things in
whatever.
animals are used for, like, were famously used, like, for sport.
Even-
Like, I just mean,
yeah.
like, a cricket ball's leather, and, like, you don't know, like, where we could end up if aliens are like, oh, yeah, human finger, we play darts with that.
Yeah.
Just human fingers make the best.
Darts for robots only.
Yeah.
But it's just robots.
We
they
make
work for.
dildos out of your femur, mate.
Yeah, yeah. To pleasure the robots because they're sentient now.
This is the craziest.
We're going to use your G spot as a Wi-Fi server that actually conducts a 5G spot. We're going to build a tower, and you're just getting. Do you know what I mean? They're in your ass,
Yeah.
and you're like, I've heard of anal probing, but I didn't know I was going to, power.
Use
this
your G
city.
spot for fake a 5G Wi-Fi send.
Yeah.
I reckon this is maybe the craziest moment we've ever had on the podcast, which
Well-
is not. I do not say that lightly.
I would say, I wish I could communicate with a rhino just to be like, what's it like to have your horn,
Used to make-
confiscated,
Yeah.
so that warlords could use it as a kind of
Aphrodisiac, don't
Aphrodisiac,
they?
yeah.
Yeah. They use
So Ubuntu
Chinese
can-
people, don't they? Or is
Yeah.
it African tribes?
yeah.
Yeah.
So Ubuntu can sustain a harem based on the placebo effect of your horn being pulverized and put into kind of a.
Yeah. You wish
Potion?
you could communicate.
Because the rhino's like, fuck this. It'd be like, that's insane. Like if you could communicate with animals to tell them.
Yeah, dude.
What you're
now that
doing.
we've got this Neuralink thing set up where we
Yeah.
can communicate on the same level as animals.
Yeah.
Just heads up. Here's some shit you will not fucking believe.
So the guy that runs that Congo junta that's sort of recruiting child soldiers? Yeah,
He's grinding your horn up so he can,
yeah,
keep an erection for longer.
yeah. And
What?
That's
you know what I mean?
fucked.
The rhino's like, what? What do you mean?
Yeah, you're not even going to eat my flesh?
Yeah, I thought you'd just be eating us like normal. No.
It's called the placebo effect. It
he's-
kind of still works if you believe it. Like it's like, what?
I like
so
how
he
this is
believes
the
it.
conversation with the rhino.
Yeah, you're trying to tell it about the power of thinking and stuff.
Oh, fuck.
It's a form of clinical trial they use to make sure drugs work before they put them on the market. Oh. Like the conversation
This conversation is weird.
with the helmet.
Yeah. It's like, oh, yeah, he's got the helmet so we can communicate with the rhino. It's like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you use my bones for anything? No. Just your horn to keep Ubuntu's erection as long as possible.
The rest
while he
rots.
manages his harem.
He's got a harem.
You don't hear harem much.
It's
anymore.
like being polyamorous, but less okay. Like it's just blowing its mind. It'll be like just
the rhino's like, whoa, like
That's
just picturing a
insane.
rhino, because you don't really picture a rhino having much facial expression.
yeah. But there must be a way to communicate these things. With
Oh,
the
there
right
would be.
technology, right?
Yeah, Elon Musk is working on it.
Yeah.
I don't know specifically for rhinos per se, but he is developing technology so people can move their wheelchairs with their mind,
Yeah.
which is different. But
Yeah.
one could see it extended to being able to tell a rhino that his horn's being used by a warlord to keep an erection so that he can manage his harem.
Yeah. So that he can keep his harem intact. Yeah.
Keep that harem intact.
The guy with the skull necklace.
Mm.
Yeah, I think
The
the
cannibal.
the neural link thing. I think definitely Octopus. I mean, that guy. There was that guy who was already talking to one.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Did we talk about octopus mental health already?
No, I don't think.
Oh, like they've got mental health.
Really?
Yeah, well, they're so intelligent. They got so many emotions and shit. This guy in this article's like, well, we need to care about octopus's mental health. So you got to care about your comedian mate's mental health.
Yeah.
You know, which more mentally ill people you couldn't find. And then you got to fucking finish up your chat, convincing your mate not to kill himself, then whack on a fucking scuba suit, go into the ocean and find the octopus with borderline personality disorder.
Yeah.
You know, check in on him, make sure he's not cutting one of his arms.
Well, he's 8 times as likely to kill himself. Or
He's
4 times, yeah.
Right, I see. Because he's got to use the
8
arms.
hands.
But if he does cut off, you know, that's sashimi, weirdly.
Yeah, it's like they should go down and scuba dive down to the octopus, put a Neuralink headset on it, and just show it Jiro dreams of sushi, just to be like, this is what they're doing to your family.
Well, you're trying to spark a revolution there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what the Kraken is, I reckon. You know, that big octopus that will end boats and shit.
No, is that what a Kraken is? I mean, I've seen the rum. There's a rum called Kraken.
That's
and
based
it's got an octopus on it.
This octopus is huge.
Is it a type of octopus or a legendary singular
octopus? It's a legendary octopus, but
okay.
Yeah, it's just one.
Right. Oh, okay. So it's called the Kraken. It's
Yeah.
this mythological octopus.
But I reckon a revenge attack from the Kraken.
Well, any of these animals that you're telling what we do with them. Oh, hey, horse, we turn you into glue. Hey, rhino, we use you for erections.
Yeah.
Hey, octopus, Jiro's using you for his Michelin star restaurant. Fucking, yeah, you know, better keep... Yeah. Don't tell them too much.
Don't spread.
Yeah, because revenge is coming.
Oh, yeah. A
Revenge is
attack.
coming. Anyway, on that note, I think, I think we've exhausted our minds talking about this. It's a good place to end, I think. And thanks, everybody, for listening. As I said, we're going to be back in 2 weeks, assuming we release on Boxing Day. But failing that, we'll be back every second week of January and going forward. So thanks for listening. And I guess we'll see you next time. You should say something.
Yeah. See you guys.
See ya.
Good to see you. Good to see you again, folks.